Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Talking Toku, Boston and Bellingham's only podcast where, shoot, Brian, what was the bit we were going to do going forward?
Oh, man,
This was like a week ago, and I don't remember what it was.
It was... Did I pin it? I think I pinned it.
Did you pin it?
I didn't.
Oh, no. Hold on, we can search it, because I know it had something to do with dinosaurs. Sorry, everyone. I know we're recording right now, and I'm not going to cut this out because it's funny. Here it is. Okay, I found it. All right. I'm leaving all that in, but I'm going to restart the intro. Bear with me. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talking Toku, Boston and Bellingham's only podcast where we talk about sci-fi monsters and dinosaur adventures. Let's go. There we do it. We got it. Okay.
We finally rebranded.
We rebranded. I still think we should get rid of the Boston Bellingham part because that kind of doesn't... We're located in those places, but we're not exclusive to those places. You can listen to us anywhere. We're still working on it. Don't worry. But hello, welcome to 2024 of Talking Toku. What the hell am I talking about right now? I'm talking about Toku. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, God, we're off to such a great start this year.
If I were sitting in the same room with you, I would definitely reach for a high five. Yeah. Maybe.
I'm glad to hear it, Brian. I appreciate the support in all my failures. But yes, we're here. We're back after our holiday break. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday and everything. And
hopefully your family didn't make your life hell.
Hopefully, yeah, that's the biggest hope, honestly. But yeah, we're back. We're gonna talk about we got some fun stuff today and in the pipeline. We got at least the next 2 episodes planned out, I think. But we'll get to that later. But
if
today,
it's a hint, this is not the first thing that we recorded today.
That's true. That means absolutely nothing to anyone listening, or at least most people listening, because they don't know when we record stuff. They won't know until the next episode drops, basically, is what I'm getting at. They won't understand that. But anyways, we'll get to that at the end of this episode. But we're going to be covering today the same thing that literally everyone else is covering. Monarch Legacy of Monsters just wrapped up last week. So we're going to be talking about that because it's Godzilla, and that's what we got to talk about. We are contractually obligated to talk about that because that is our lot in life. We have signed up for this. There's no way around it. We have this is not of our own volition. We are legally bound to cover this show.
I have no control over my own body. I have to record this.
But hey, you know what? It's okay. Because I want to talk about the show because it was good. So there we go. But we'll get to that in a couple minutes because, hey, we got some news to cover. And I'm a little surprised because it's been, 3-4 weeks, maybe? Almost a month now? I don't even know when the last episode came out. But,
something like that. I know it was our Sky Captain episode.
It was. And I can actually find out if I go to kaijuunited.com and look at our feed.
It probably came out on the 22nd.
Was the 22nd? Was it that late in the month, really? Oh, maybe we recorded about a month ago, but the turnaround on me editing. Well, it's not even the turnaround. It's just I like having them drop on Friday is the real reasoning for it. But let's see. Oh, I saw it and then I clicked off of it. All right, well, that just says December 2023. That's not very helpful.
Yeah, that's what Spotify says for me.
Wow, okay, yeah, I guess it was the 22nd. You were right. Huh.
Nice.
22nd or 23rd. I don't know if our good pal, friend of the show, Jacob, posted this the day of or the day after. Sometimes he does it. But I could just look at a calendar and see when the 23rd was. All right, so it was the 22nd. Our last episode was the 22nd. There we go. Mystery solved. Took us like 5 minutes, but we got it.
Yeah.
All right. What were? Oh yeah. So it's been about a month, but surprisingly, there's only a little bit of news. There's not as much news, but I guess it's the end. It was the end of the month and the end of the year, so like it's kind of a dead zone for news, anyways. But thankfully, there's some interesting stories to talk about. I'll let you decide if they're good or bad or not. We're not good or bad. Just we're just gonna go into it because again, I don't. And your mileage may vary. So we'll just go right on in, shall we? So right off the bat, thank God. I don't know about y'all, but I can't cook for shit, which is why I rely solely on dumb, nerdy cookbooks to help me out in my time of need. So thank God that Penguin Random House has us all covered with Godzilla, the official cookbook. Unfortunately, there's no preview recipes to tease us as to what may be included in the book. The cover art has like a bunch of things I've seen elsewhere. Like I'm pretty sure one of the pictures on the placeholder cover is like some fried chicken from a chain in Japan that was used to promote Godzilla 2014, I think. So that's obviously not like gonna be in the recipe book. I have no idea though. But yeah, just like the official Mountain Dew cookbook from a few years ago, this is going to be a day one buy for me. Unfortunately, day one is going to be September 10th of this year, which is so far away. It's really sad. I want my Godzilla cookbook. I want to make I don't know. Brian, give me an idea. What dumb thing might be in there in a Godzilla cookbook?
Bro, I don't know. All I know is that you won't have it in time for the new monkey.
Oh, you're right. Damn it. I want to say an Ebra lobster tail, but that seems too easy to. That seems too it's low hanging fruit.
Do an Ebra lobster roll.
Oh, I do like a good lobster roll.
Or if you really stretch it, I guess Ghidorah's heads kind of look like spaghetti.
Well, when the Polygon trilogy was coming out, and they were doing the toys for the Planet Eater, everyone thought the figure for Ghidorah looked like a banana. So you could do something with that.
Oh, you know what? A Ghidorah banana split.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. There we go.
That that our ideas are gonna be way better than whatever is
honestly. You know what, Penguin Random House, I don't know if you've like finalized everything that's going to be in the book. I don't know. September 10th, you may not have finalized everything. I don't know. But listen, if you need some ideas, let us know. Clearly we have good ideas. Yeah, just let us write the book, honestly. Like,
call us.
Give us a call, because we know. We know what the fans want. I mean,
I cook at least once a month.
I understand that you have someone writing the book. You have Case Baker, but you know, and they have done the Sea of Thieves cookbook as well. But we've never written a book. But here's the thing: we have a podcast, so that objectively means we're correct.
It's like the same thing.
It's like the same thing. It really is.
It's like the same thing.
God, this is off to such a good start.
Oh my God,
this is gonna be a good episode, Brian. Oh my God.
All right, let's move on from that.
Let's move on.
Godzilla versus McDonald's is sick as shit. Why is every food thing happening with Godzilla?
I don't know, man.
What's happening?
Well, McDonald's Japan is doing like this huge Godzilla promotion. Like they have 3 different Godzilla burgers. They did I
saw all their burgers on Instagram and from one of those fucking annoying ass food bloggers. I muted the video, but I looked at the food.
That's funny.
And it looked pretty good.
Where's the other?
Japanese McDonald's? Japanese McDonald's is some real shit.
I've heard just McDonald's literally anywhere other than America is really good.
I remember when I went to France, I had McDonald's in France.
And was it delicious?
when I was like a little boy. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's like 8. I just remember going.
All right. Well, let's. I'll go. I'll quickly go over their sandwiches, and then I'll get into the more interesting part of it. So they have a delicious. This is kind of a mouthful for one sandwich, but maybe in Japanese it's a little more succinct. The delicious, spicy, thick cut beef and rough chopped potato. It's got a spicy mayo sauce. I like spicy mayo. That is delicious.
I love that. I want it.
Oh, I should read the whole thing because it's worded really fun. All right, I'll read it verbatim. These 3 Godzilla burgers are McDonald's Japan's / humanity's last chance at stomping the monster's rampage. Each is, as you'd expect, an extra meaty, super filling sandwich, starting with the delicious, spicy, thick-cut beef and rough chopped potato with both beef and potato patty. Ooh, potato patties. Ooh, okay, this actually does sound really good. And a spicy mayo sauce plus cheddar cheese. Plan B to curb Godzilla's wrath and hunger is the smoky pepper chicken, a fried chicken cutlet with thick cut bacon, cheese, crisp sliced onion, and smoky mustard. Finally, there's the cheese double teriyaki, a brute force approach that forgoes getting cute with the ingredients and just hitting Godzilla with 2 pork patties smothered in teriyaki sauce, accompanied by cheese and lettuce. Wow. Incredible.
Bro.
Incredible.
Whoever's doing their marketing over there.
They're knocking it out of the park.
You should get a raise.
But yeah, those actually do sound really good. But the more fun thing is, they did a whole like tokusatsu short to like market these. And they even went so far as to get Shinji Nishikawa himself, who designed more than half the monsters from the Heisei and Millennium era films, to design a McDonald's themed mech.
I'm pretty sure I saw this short. I just need to make sure I did. Hold on.
It's like a third. Okay, good. It was already muted. I didn't have to go for it, but I have it here.
Oh, here we go. Parts 1 to 3.
There's 3 parts? Oh my god, there is. That's incredible. Oh yeah, they have the toys.
Yeah.
For Bear Brick, of course. But that doesn't have the Mickey D's mech. There he is. He's in part 2. All right, now we know.
Oh, they even had the Mothra twins in there for a second? Damn.
Hey, Brian, you want to go? Oh, yeah, so they're right there. Brian, do you want to go to Japan just to go to McDonald's? I don't care about anything else in Japan. Let's just go to McDonald's and we can go back. Hell, they might. They'll probably have the McDonald's at the airport, so we don't even have to leave the airport. We didn't even have to pack anything. We can just fly there, fly back immediately.
Dave, it's like a 13-hour flight.
Okay. What's your point?
Watch a bunch of Godzilla movies on the way there.
I don't see what the issue is here.
That McDonald's mech looks pretty sick.
It looks great. And he smiles too. It's awesome. And again, Shinji Nishikawa, the man himself. Just incredible. Good stuff.
Man.
Why don't we get cool shit like that here in the States? I don't get it, man.
Dude, I don't even know. We need better commercials.
We really do. The art of the commercial, I feel, has fallen by the wayside. No one puts any effort into commercials nowadays. You know what I saw in my Instagram feed earlier today? I saw a commercial for Corn Pops from the 90s, and it had fucking Paul Walker in it.
Okay.
I was like,
what?
Is that fucking Paul Walker? And you know what the funny thing is? He even talks about cars in the commercial. So it was like a weird predestined thing. Like he knew he was going to be in the Fast and the Furious.
Oh, that's true. I guess that was before Fast and Furious.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was in the 90s. He didn't look like over 18. I don't think he looked very, very young. I mean, I don't know how old he was when Fast and Furious came out in 2001, but I don't know how old he was in that. I have no idea. I also don't know when in the 90s that came out. But anyways, we're really getting off track here. So I'm going to continue onwards and talk about the new comic that's coming out. That sounds really, really cool, actually. So IDW Publishing just continues to be the GOAT in the comics world, as they've announced Godzilla's 70th anniversary for release in May, a massive 100-page one-shot comic featuring 9 different stories by writers such as Matt Frank with, and this is the coolest part, with help of friend of the show, Donnie Winter. They haven't provided any details as to what the story is going to be, but both of them did mention that they had help. They helped each other out on that story. So like I'm even more excited for this now, knowing that Donnie had a hand in writing the story with Matt, of all people. James Sticco, who should need no introduction. Godzilla: The Half-Century War. That's all you need to know. It's one of the best Godzilla stories in print media, or in general. In general Godzilla media, it's one of the best Godzilla stories. And Dan DiDio, who I'm not familiar with, but people seemed really, really excited about him being attached. There's more. There's 9 stories. Only, I think, 5 of the writers were announced. So we'll see when it comes out in May. But the solicitation did specifically mention a story set in the Old West, which, you know what? If 8 out of the 9 stories suck and the Old West one is good, that'll be worth it, I think. Because Godzilla in the Old West sounds like the best possible thing.
Godzilla is the sheriff.
He's the sheriff. Oh my God.
And Anguirus is the sheriff's deputy.
I like that. I do gotta get around to reading Here There Be Dragons, which is like Godzilla in the 17th century, and it's like pirates and shit. Because
hell yeah,
I mean, cool. How could that be bad, right? I read the first issue, but I haven't read the rest of it. I think it's all out by now. Oh, actually, I just remembered something else, just off the top of my head, because we're talking about comics. Yes, here we go. As well as IDW doing that, they've also announced a sequel to Godzilla vs. the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's going to be coming out on April 3rd, the first issue at least. I have read the first series, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm not really all that into Power Rangers, but I had a blast with that series. But I will read off the quick solicitation info on this. Worlds collide a second time as everyone's favorite kaiju meets up with Earth's mightiest warriors once again to take on the most fearsome monsters from both sides of the multiverse, with Rita Repulsa egging them on. This one has it all. Space Godzilla, Clawhammer, Tentacreep. Those are two of those I don't recognize. I'll let you guess which ones they are. But what exactly does Rita intend to do with their collective might, and how have her mysterious new allies, Astronema and the Alliance of Evil, given her added reach across worlds? The Power Rangers are on a mission to find out, but first, all roads lead back to Godzilla. Yeah, I'm pretty down. Again, I really, really liked the first series, like a lot more than I thought I was going to, not being a Power Rangers fan, but I'm glad they're continuing this. I never thought it was gonna get a follow up, because I was kind of surprised that the first one happened in the first place, but I'm glad that it's getting a continuation for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of Godzilla crossovers recently.
There is. I'm here for it, man. The more the merrier, I say.
Yeah. Oh, another piece of news we forgot. Not really news, but like just a little thing that the Japanese like trailer, I guess, for the new Monkey.
There wasn't.
It had like that one new shot in it that has people going kind of nuts.
Yeah, because it's Godzilla standing in the Roman Coliseum, which it admittedly looks really fucking cool.
It goes real hard. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
I will mention though that it was kind of interesting watching that trailer, because it's almost all the same footage, but at the same time it very clearly focuses more on Godzilla than on Kong, which I mean it makes sense because it's the
Yeah.
Japanese trailer, but it's just interesting to see that it's all the same footage except for that last shot, but it's way more focused on Godzilla than Kong. It's
Yeah,
kind of
it
funny.
is. I have a feeling that this movie might be more of a Kong movie than it is a Godzilla movie.
That's what all the rumors are saying, and all the leaks have so far been proven correct. I'm not going to talk about the leaks, but that was one of the things, is that Kong is very much the main character. And that was the case in Godzilla versus Kong too. Kong was definitely the lead, despite getting
Yeah.
despite not having top billing in the title, but I don't care. Whatever. I'm here for it. I'm going to watch it regardless. If I like it, cool. If I don't like it, whatever. We're going to see it. We're going to review it. You'll find out. All right.
Hey, you know, I was talking to Sam about it the other day. I was like, hey, you know what? My expectations are at rock bottom. So if it's like surprisingly good, then it's got like, you know, if it ends up being better than my extremely low standards for it, or not low standards, my low expectations for it, then it's got a shot. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I might end up appreciating it more. I don't know.
Fingers crossed. I do at the end of the day I want to be optimistic, because I don't like being like instinctively negative just based on a single trailer. You know, I like that we don't like negativity all that much.
But I mean, like, especially like after finishing Monarch.
Yeah, I know. So
like I know they can do it in this universe now. So like all that matters now is just execution, being able to make a movie where I give a shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Shay, speaking of Monarch, boom,
let's talk about
segue.
it.
Let's look at that. We did that so naturally. We're turning this around. Especially today. Everything's coming up Toku.
Oh yes. Well, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, this. I'm gonna say it every time because it's common courtesy, but obviously we're gonna talk about spoilers.
Yes.
So you haven't finished it yet? Go finish it. It's good. We're gonna spoil it. You pull up the IMDb page.
Spoiler alert, Godzilla's in it. Ha 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 ha. What a funny bit.
Well,
aren't I so hilarious?
You are very funny.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.
Welcome. Well, I mean, I know everyone here has seen it. If you have not left, or if you're a lazy bitch, but I'll just tell you, the show follows a group of people, family primarily, that are trying to find their dad, and the show explores the history in Monarch and its founding, and it time jumps. We see Godzilla, another kaiju. We see some of the quote unquote Hollow Earth, and it's very much a more human centric story set in the legendary MonsterVerse. My first note was that it perfectly fits in the world of specifically Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island. It went back to
very much does.
It went back to the grounded tone. I've even seen people put out edits of the San Francisco bridge scene, splicing both the Godzilla 2014 scene
really?
plus
hell yeah,
the scenes that we've gotten out of Monarch. So it very much fits right in that tone, which we've talked about that we miss from the new movies a lot. So this is very much, I feel like, a show made for us. I feel like the show was specifically made to shut us the fuck up. Especially because they have fucking Kurt Russell in it. But yeah, so
Matt Shackman, he listens to our show. He listens to Talking Toku, and he heard all of our complaints about the MonsterVerse, and we're like, all right, hold on,
I'm gonna
guys.
be honest with you. It honestly feels like that's what happened.
You think so?
Because like all of my gripes with the MonsterVerse have really been almost entirely addressed. there's a couple things that still bother me, but like they gave me characters that I like.
Yeah.
They gave me the grounded tone back.
Yeah. It's not
They
perfect by any means, and we'll get into that.
no, yeah,
But overall, it's I put it succinctly in my letterbox review in that it was just a one sentence review. I said it was nice to care about the MonsterVerse again.
yeah. No, exactly. And like we talked about it a lot, and I kept saying to you, like, this show, it's kind of like bittersweet to watch it because like there's nothing else like this except for Godzilla 2014
Yeah.
and Kong Skull Island to a lesser extent. Like I can't go watch Godzilla versus Kong or Godzilla King of the Monsters and have it be this tone. Like it's just
Yeah.
not.
That is definitely one of the biggest problems with the show, I think, because the tone is so much more in line with those first two films that it just feels inconsistent with what we've gotten since.
Yeah.
Because it's so over the top nowadays with Godzilla, from King of the Monsters onward, and even more so with the new Empire. Like it's looking like it's just wrapping up the big goofiness, which again, not necessarily a bad thing, but like if you're making a cinematic universe, you need it to be consistent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I guess Marvel has been very consistent with their tone, and that's kind of what's turning people off of Marvel nowadays because everything just feels the same. So I don't know. I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like I want things to feel consistent, but at the same time, I don't want to get tired of the consistency. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's
think
it's
for
it's
me
it's difficult balance.
the biggest problem, like from what I saw, Marvel's biggest problem is that they stuck to their similar tone for so long, and then they moved on to this new kind of wacky tone when they moved on to like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff,
Mm,
and they started doing more space stuff, and then they started working in more humor and more just wacky, goofy um, visual gags and stuff like that. But with and now that is becoming old, and people are getting sick of it. They're sick of the quips, and they're sick of Um, but with Godzilla and like the MonsterVerse, the big problem is that we had Godzilla 2014 come out. It had its serious tone, and then it feels like I'm not going to count Kong Skull Island because that honestly I feel like Skull Island has its own kind of tone
mm,
detached from the rest of the MonsterVerse. It's still on the serious side, but it's definitely more kind of like war movie with big
yeah.
monster in it.
It's definitely a lot more
Uh,
lighthearted than Godzilla was.
yeah, but they still. That's the thing though that bothers me about a lot of the legendary movies, is that they are like this is the only way we can inject humor into the story is if we make the whole thing funny.
Yeah.
But like that's not like there was a lot of moments in Monarch that were funny, like like with the who's the scientist guy who like leaves Monarch
Oh,
and
Tim like kind of very slowly became my favorite character in the whole
yeah
show.
so yeah, Tim. He was kind of like I saw him kind of like as the comedic relief sort of whenever we cut back to like Monarch internals. Um sorry. And so like they injected humor into it but it still felt serious. It still felt like they had a mission to do and like things were on the line. Maybe that's because the stakes of the show were kind of just less than King of the Monsters and Kong Skull Island. But I mean, you could say that things should be more serious with the stakes of those movies.
Hmm.
Or not Skull Island, I mean Godzilla versus Kong.
Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah. Um, it's just kind of being just the tone whiplash of the series. It's a bit it just doesn't make for a good series. It doesn't it's not consistent. And as much as I want a more grounded tone for all the movies, like if that's not what they want, then they just need to make it consistent. But it just doesn't really feel like it is. Like it feels like we had our two Goofy movies, and now we have this, which as much as I love this, it just it doesn't really fit in with the rest of it aside from Godzilla
Yeah.
2014.
And we
It's just
talked
kind
about
of
it a lot.
confusing.
Part of us wants to believe that between the success of this and also Godzilla minus one, that Legendary will kind of drift back towards this kinds of stuff. But like with how over the top and cartoony the new Empire looks, it's like it feels a little too late to course correct, which is upsetting to a degree, but also like I don't know. Again, it's hard to like comment on it because obviously we haven't seen the new Empire yet, and so who knows? Maybe the marketing is super misleading and it will be a super grounded story.
If they can strike a balance between the goofy visuals that they have and making it a grounded story with people, and like give tangible stakes and have characters we care about, like they can do that. History has shown that that's not something that's important to them.
Yeah, and I mean, you can make the argument that like that Godzilla as a franchise has done that before. It's been big and goofy, but also has told a mature story. Like as goofy as it is, Godzilla versus Hedorah is a pretty mostly grounded story, I think. It's certainly the darkest of the 70s Godzilla films, in my opinion, and I think most people would agree with me on that point as well. So it's possible. It's possible to do. It's just a matter of what Warner Brothers wants to do with the MonsterVerse going forward, because so far Monarch has not been renewed for a second season. I'd be shocked if it didn't, because apparently this has been super successful for Apple TV. So I think even like outside of Apple TV, like apparently was like the most pirated show of the season. So people want to watch it, whether or not they're paying for it is out of the question. But point is, like, this did really well, and it's clear that people are connecting with a grounded story like that. And again, like with -1 as well. So we'll see what I think it'll come down to what the new Empire does in terms of like financial viability as to whether
I honestly think it's going to come down to its reception now.
Yeah.
Mainly because like Godzilla -1 is for its budget and its production, very successful. Made a lot of its money back, earned them a great profit, but it was also a critical darling for the year. Like everybody fucking loved it, and it's gotten almost universal praise. And if Legendary can't get a piece of that pie off of, kind of riding off the name, like, I don't know, like they might rethink their strategy. They're like, maybe we should be more like -1. I don't know. I'm not really a businessman. I don't do any business decisions, but I
we
feel
could
like
be.
If
we've said it before. Legendary.
Yeah.
Give us a call.
Give us a call. But I mean, I guess my point being is like, if they, they see Godzilla -1 come out with its very grounded, very, very personal story, and it's received very well. A lot of decisions on Hollywood are made because they're like, oh, we just know that we have a big dumb fan base that likes big dumb shit. But clearly, there is now shown to be an audience for that, specifically Godzilla fans. So, maybe this shows Legendary like, oh, maybe we should go back to that tone we had in 2014, or maybe we should try and course correct a little bit. And then on top of that, you have Monarch, and maybe that was like a little experiment. Like, who knows? I don't know.
I could see that being the case. Like, this was kind of them toying, because, like, you know, King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong, I think, they did well financially. Or actually, I'm not sure if King of the Monsters did too well financially, but I know Godzilla versus Kong did.
I remember seeing the projected earnings for King of the Monsters, and it was like surprisingly low.
But yeah, like,
I'm not sure about Godzilla vs. Kong though.
Godzilla vs. Kong, I know, was a big box office hit because, again, it hit right in the middle of COVID, and it still made a lot of money. But
yeah,
again,
and also the Kong has big.
There's that too.
Name brand.
But like also the thing is, like, it didn't do neither film did too well critically. Financially, whatever, but critically it didn't do too well. So maybe this is like them trying to, like, okay, so that's not really working, but this kind of stuff was working. So let's see what can we do here, basically. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds. Again, this has not been renewed for a second season. So far, there's no sequel to the New Empire announced as of yet. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, I think the same thing happened last time. Like, Godzilla versus Kong was not supposed to be the end of the MonsterVerse, but it was supposed to be like a potential end of the MonsterVerse. Like, if we don't get any more MonsterVerse stuff after this, then this leaves it off on a decent note. And I think the New Empire is kind of gonna be doing the same. Like, it's just kind of gonna play it by ear. So we'll see if we get anything after this. But I mean, Monarch has the advantage of taking place before any of these movies, well, before most of these movies at least. That it has all that wiggle room, that it doesn't need to continue the story, rather it just expand on the story, which is really nice. And personally, I think it expanded on the story in a really spectacular way. I mean, I'm surprised that it was able to expand on so much of the stuff in the MonsterVerse as a universe, and actually make a lot of it, like, fit together in a way that made sense. Like, we're getting stuff. Again, we're getting right into spoilers now for sure. Like, the revelation that May works for Apex, or worked for Apex. They're those are the guys who made Mechagodzilla. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't realize we were getting into that today. But yeah, and there was one other one that I really. Oh no, they I thought they were gonna. So the big, like, Titan lure that they were working on mostly in the past, but they bring it up near the end as well. I thought they were going to kind of tie that into the orca from King of the Monsters, but then they didn't really do that, which I thought was weird because it seemed like such an obvious connection to make.
I kind of thought the same thing too, but I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah. Maybe that'll come up in season 2 if we ever get that. But
I really, really did like all of the interconnectivity that the show had. And this is kind of like where I start to think that this show, especially if it keeps going onto a season 2 and it kind of keeps its tone, I think it can make a lot of the movies retroactively better.
I think so too. Yeah.
By adding, because like in Godzilla vs. Kong, like Apex just kind of,
they're just there,
exists, and like we don't get any history into the thing. We just have this one guy who runs a podcast about how he works there and has supposedly worked there for who knows how long, while running a conspiracy podcast about saying that he's going to break into it. Still makes no sense to me. But anyways, like, it was shallow. But with this show, like, we get May's backstory about how she left a toxic work environment, and then it turned out to be Apex, and it's like, oh my god, like that's cool. Like this stuff is cool because it means stuff to these characters that I care about.
Yeah. The only issue
one that go ahead.
The only issue I have with the whole Apex revelation is that we don't really get a whole lot of we still don't really get a whole lot of information as to what exactly they're doing. Like, I have a feeling Go.
that if we get a season 2, that's probably gonna be what they
Yeah, because
explore.
all the information we get is because May, like, she works for the company and then she leaves because she like hacked into the company and like, did she expose the files or did she like delete a bunch of stuff? I don't remember. But anyways, like we don't get any
I'm not sure.
information as to what exactly they were doing that changed May's mind. Like she was just like, oh,
Yeah,
they're
we do.
doing a bad thing and I gotta stop it. But we don't get any
We
information as to what the bad thing they're doing is.
yeah, we did. So there was those files, like the video files of them testing like Neuralink things on monkeys,
Was that
or
what it
kind of like
was?
a test.
It
Yeah.
seemed to me like there was something more that she was exposing.
Oh, maybe there was, but I mean, maybe it was just the existence of a Mechagodzilla project.
That early on
But
though? I don't know. That just seems
I mean,
weird.
I
Cause like,
could
hold
see
on,
it if
let
like
me.
early planning phase. I could see it. Or wait, no, I guess it wouldn't make sense because it was so.
Yeah, no. So
Huh.
this is so I'm looking at this. That was in 2012, before knowledge of Godzilla was public.
Okay.
So it wouldn't have been Mecha Godzilla. So yeah, that's the
So it
thing.
was
Like
probably
I don't know what
so
she
it was probably the animal testing, and
maybe.
then Apex had all this research into like Neuralink stuff. Maybe that they were able to pivot to a Mechagodzilla project with that information, and like I don't know, it's cool because like that's the company pre Godzilla before
Wait.
they got up to all that shit.
What? Hold on.
What?
All right. So the Wikipedia article from Monarch says, dissatisfied with the secrecy around her work, she hacks into AET's systems and discovers they are a front for Monarch's cybernetic animal experimentation. Did that ever come across to you that they were that they were working for Monarch? Because it didn't to me.
No, it didn't to me either.
Okay.
That might not be accurate.
I guess I gotta watch the show again, but
I guess so. I was thinking about it.
yeah, I wanted to
Um,
try and like watch it all in one go before we recorded this, but I just didn't have the time for it.
I thought about it too, but I don't think I could.
Yeah,
Maybe the first few episodes.
yeah.
Um, anyways, the other one I was kind of talking I wrote here on my notes was, aside from getting extra background on the on Apex, it was very cool to go to the San Francisco exclusion zone. And when Kate and Kentaro and May were digging around for their dad, or I guess only Kate and Kentaro is dead. Not May is just kind of there the whole time. But like I really thought that was cool, like going to the exclusion zone and seeing what it was like after the big fight, and like it was nice beyond just face value because it also had emotional resonance with the character. Like Kate is traumatized because some of her students died.
I really want to
Uh,
talk about that actually because it's really interesting that both the big Godzilla properties we got this year are intrinsically tried to like intrinsically tied to trauma.
yeah,
Like -1 is all about survival. I mean, they're both all about survivor's guilt, really. Um,
yeah, they are definitely.
so
I
it's
mean, Kate's story specifically is survivor's guilt.
yeah. So it's just it's
Um,
really interesting that of both the big Godzilla projects we got this year, that was a very strong central theme for both of them. Which hey,
yeah,
we always joke about like, hey, trauma, that's the big thing that makes for good character development, but like I guess
it
it
fucking
does.
does.
I guess it
Yeah,
does.
and like it's I always found it like whenever like we in that episode where where they're going through San Francisco, like seeing her like have like breakdowns and like remembering what happened that day, it was like very interesting seeing the events of that movie from like a different perspective. And then every time she sees Godzilla like in the show after the fact, like like I always paid attention to like what she like her facial expression while looking at him, and it was always like of terror essentially. And it's like holy shit, like I believe it.
I'm
Like she
gonna
watched a school bus full of children get fucking knocked off a bridge because of this motherfucker.
I'm gonna kind of go get ahead of ourselves here and talk about what my favorite scene in the whole entire show was. Um,
Oh yeah.
it's I don't remember which episode is in because I know it all kind of blurs together. Which episode was it? Oh God, I don't even know.
What was it? Tell me, I might know.
I think. Wait, is it? It's the one where they first see their dad and Godzilla comes back. Like he comes out of the mountain. But
Oh yeah.
it's the scene right after he leaves and Kate's like, he looked at me. And that's when and then she has the conversation with Shaw, I think an episode or two later at the not at the Monarch outpost, but like where the entrance to the Hollow Earth. Like Shaw tells her, like, you looked into his eyes, you saw that he is not just a monster. There is intelligence behind those eyes. And that was that. I don't know, that entire series of events just was really, really interesting. That we see that change in Kate where she's like, oh, he's not just a mindless animal. He didn't intend to do that. Obviously, it was just, I don't know. I'm kind of trailing off here, but you know what I mean.
No, I absolutely get what you're saying. Like that's kind of the thing with this show that I really liked is like people, they like they talk about these monsters like they're real, like with respect, like they are real things in their world. Whereas if you go and you watch Godzilla King of the Monsters, like in that movie they talk about them like they're toys fighting, you know? Like that is something that like it just doesn't feel like legitimate to me. It feels like it's a movie that's obviously made for fun, but the stakes aren't there because it doesn't really seem like they think it's real. But in the show, like because we're so like caught up in these people's lives and we're following their story, like them talking about their experiences and exploring their experiences with these monsters, like it's so much more believable and realistic because it's part of their journey to how they got there and it just fits with their story. Like and they talk about them like they're fucking real. Like dude, the acting in the show really blew me away sometimes.
It's really, really good. The
Um,
whole cast is phenomenal.
I mean, specifically, Kentaro and his dad, when he's like Kate's dead after,
oh yeah,
the dad like having that breakdown, like I started to get sad,
and he's like you're just saying that to hurt me, and like Kentaro just doesn't speak at all. Like no, that's not what he's doing. It's
just like God, like it was like I did not expect to get emotionally gut punched by that by a fucking MonsterVerse TV show like that.
I kind of had I kind of got a little weepy eyed in the last episode where Shaw and Keiko finally reunite.
Oh yes,
that was really because like Shaw is like hiding behind the tree because he knows that Keiko doesn't realize that there's been some weird time dilation shit, so she's not ready for it. And he's like, you can see just on his face, he's like steeling himself to like break the news to her. And then like she breaks down, understandably, because why would everyone would, losing 60 years of their life? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone would.
I think it was more than that. It was probably 80. This probably fell down there in the 60s and then actually, yeah. No, it was about 60 years.
I don't remember when. Oh, so it's 59 when she fell into the Hollow Earth. So about
okay,
a little over 60.
It is about 60.
Little over 70. Oh, no, a little over 60. Sorry, I'm bad at math.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so
like that's actually a perfect example of how characters affect the believability of a story. because I think I talked to you a bit about it, and I thought that the reveal of her still being alive and being not aged at all was stupid.
Mm.
And I was worried that the way that they would explain it, they would just kind of move on from it and be like, "Oh my God, you're alive! That's incredible!" And be like, "Oh, there's some weird, wacky time shit down here." But them putting a visceral emotional response to that made it so much more believable and so much more grounded for me, and I could grasp it. I'd be like, okay, it fits with the story now because the characters, they reacted to a way that I would see as realistic.
Yeah.
Like with you have like part of the Hollow Earth thing that I don't like is every time we've gone into the Hollow Earth, I just feel like people don't emote the way that a real person would if they found out this place fucking existed. Like in Godzilla versus Kong, they went down to the Hollow Earth and they were just like, "Wow, that's so crazy," and it just didn't really fit. I would be horrified.
Anyone
I
would
don't know.
be. Again,
I
if
would
you
be like,
lost
"Oh,
60
this is
years.
yeah." But then, in the show, like her reaction to it made it so much more believable to me, and I was on board with it immediately after that. I'm like, okay, I can believe it now. So I really think that if you just have characters react to things in believable ways, then you can sell people on it. Like you'll sell me on it. If they have an explanation for Hollow Earth and they have someone react to it in a proper way, I'll be on it. I'll be on board. No questions.
I'm just looking up what um Keiko's actress Mari Yamamoto has been in, and there's really nothing I recognize. Yeah, I don't recognize anything other than Monarch here. So
Really?
yeah, no, none of these ring any bells. So damn.
Huh.
She's been in a lot of stuff, but
Yeah, she is in
not
a lot of stuff.
nothing I recognize other than Monarch. Interesting.
Yeah, she was really, really, really
Yeah,
good.
I think she was probably my favorite. Her and Anders Holm as Bill Randa were like fantastic. Like at first,
young Bill Randa was so good. I
he was
loved young Bill
incredible.
Randa.
Like at first, I was like, I don't know, is this guy really the same character as John Goodman? But like as you watch more of the show and you just see, all his mannerisms, you're like, oh yeah, that is John Goodman. And there's the funny kind of thing like, oh, we see him as late as 1962, I think, and he still looks like Anders Holm. And then 10 years from now in Kong Skull Island, he looks like John Goodman. What the fuck happened to him? It's the same kind of thing where like, oh yeah, we saw Obi-Wan Kenobi in his show, and then like 10 years later, he looks like Alec Guinness. It's like, what happened to this man? What are you okay? But it's whatever.
I mean, he lost both his best friends.
I know. Yeah, he did. So
I mean, shit. People fall into.
I do want to mention something about that though, because like as we talked about, like I like a lot of the stuff where they've kind of made the universe feel a little more connected, but at the same time they sort of don't. Like it goes against it because Kong Skull Island, and actually even King of the Monsters too, it kind of treats the Hollow Earth like it's still this kind of crackpot theory. But Monarch has shown that Monarch themselves have known about the Hollow Earth, and that Bill Randa especially has seen monsters before. He has seen Godzilla before. So why on Skull Island, when he first sees Kong, he's like so, dumbfounded by this? And he's not, and like Kong's not even that big. I mean, he's a very large ape, but like compared to Godzilla, he's not that big. Yeah. Kong Skull Island is not that big compared to Godzilla. So like, why? So there's still a little bit of a disconnect in the continuity here, but it's more of me nitpicking than anything. It's not like an actual criticism. It's just kind of like, oh, that's kind of odd, but okay.
Yeah, I also feel like their this might be like the first of many like waves of retcons.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much the
Like
entire. I mean, when we talked about it on our predictions episode for this show, like Godzilla Awakening is just gone out the window. It's no longer canon at all.
it's not. It's really not.
Yeah, it really all they
Uh
really took from it was Shaw and like the Bikini Atoll test, and that was
yeah.
pretty much it.
Ooh, we should talk about Shaw.
We should talk about
He
Shaw, our boy Kurt Russell and
Kurt
Wyatt Russell.
Russell Kurt Russell did not disappoint
He didn't. I
in
was
this show.
so. I mean, I knew he
He
wasn't gonna be bad. There's no. I
I
don't
mean,
think
of course.
he's Kurt Russell.
Yeah. He's Kurt Russell. But yeah, he brought such an energy to the show. I also thought he brought a lot of comedic
He did. I mean, he's
relief.
probably used to it by now. You know, he's been in John Carpenter movies. They're always wisecracking in those movies.
Yeah.
But
But that's
yeah,
the thing
no.
though. He's like a man on a mission, but he's also very charismatic and fun.
Yeah.
And like that's where like I really loved his character. Like just like kind of the man in charge of the group until they all split up.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of he like has his own agenda, like he does, but like he's kind of like, oh, come with me if you want, you know. Like it's just yeah, he's just such a fun character, and the choice to have Wyatt Russell play him in the past was so good.
Yeah.
And
I
they're like basically the same person, dude. Like,
yeah.
come
I
on.
mean, again, obviously they're father and son in real life, so like there's obviously a connections lit there. Like obviously you're gonna have like to be on that same emotional level very easily, but also like
Yeah.
Wyatt Russell is just a really good actor in general. Like there
I mean, the
because
scene when he wakes up in the hospital after he gets back from Hollow Earth,
yeah.
I believed every second of his performance.
Hmm.
He like felt like he was going nuts. His reaction to waking up in the future was like very visceral, really good, up there with like Keiko's reaction to it.
Yeah, and like every time he had
Like,
to like talk to like Puckett or Hatch, like you could see like on his face he was just trying his damnedest to bite his tongue and just like be
yeah,
professional about everything because like it's very
I
clear he
really
cares
loved all
about
those.
Monarch.
I really loved all those scenes when he was really trying to like put in a good word for Monarch with his fucking CEO, but his CEO is just a hard ass.
Yeah. Well, Puckett was
Like,
fine. Puckett understood, but Hatch was a fucking dick.
yeah, he was a dick. Yeah.
But
Um, about the past stuff though, I really loved all the flashbacks.
I did too.
The
That
one
was
thing,
this is probably the
the one,
biggest thing for me is that like at least for like the first half of the show, I was kind of
yeah,
like checking my non-existent watch being like, okay, can we get back to the past stuff now? I'm kind of bored.
I was doing the same thing until the current timeline really picked up in the second half of the show. I was like, can we go back to the past, please?
Yeah, it was really really fascinating to like watch Monarch kind of come up from literally nothing and to be like now, you know, what it's become now. And even like they even make note of that when they first reunite with Keiko, like Monarch is still around, like and they're because they've
Yeah.
become so much more in the time you've been gone. It was really nice to see their origins, and like that was like it was way more satisfying to watch than I could ever have imagined.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's I agree. I really liked seeing it just be like essentially like a three-person government granted project turn into a fucking like government agency essentially.
Yeah,
Like that was really cool.
because in
And seeing all the
every
politics behind that and like all
hmm
the decisions that led to certain things happen, like that's just that's a thing that like you just can't put in a movie, you know? Like you have to put it in a show format,
hmm
which is, really brilliant why they made this show. Like I really love it. And they tied it in with all their main leads and it was just structured so well. Everything that they were doing drove the plot forward. It never really felt like they were meandering. And by what they're, through their actions in the show, it naturally led us to learn more about Monarch and how they came about, and it was just really, really, really good. I really, really enjoyed the structure of the show. Hey, do you want to talk about all the new kaiju?
We could talk. Yeah, I mean, the Frost of Arc was fucking sick.
Yeah, him, and the Ion Dragon for me were.
Oh, but
were
the
my
boar,
two...
Brian, the boar.
Yeah, I really like the boar, don't get me wrong, but the more I think about it, the more I don't think it can compete with the Iron Dragon.
But Brian,
the
have you considered that the boar's official name is the bramble boar?
All right, you got me. It's pretty awesome. No, but that's the thing though. Like we were talking about it, like the one thing that the MonsterVerse has consistently done very well, despite our complaints with it, is that their original kaiju design are spot on.
They've been so great. They've been
every
great.
Time. And I love how they keep their design ethos very much like could this exist in real life? Like would this make sense on Earth, you know? It's not just like, oh, we'll just take this and then add some spikes here and put some wings, and you know, like they made it. All of their original designs, they're very much like, oh yeah, I could see that being on Earth a billion years ago for sure.
Yeah.
And I just, I think it's excellent. The Ion Dragon, obviously, I really love it. I think the name is awesome. I love his green goop that he spits on Godzilla in the final fight, which holy shit, he gets like shafted so fast.
Dude, that was so funny in that climax. Like,
yeah,
Godzilla's coming through the portal. The Ion Dragon comes up behind him. He like slams into Godzilla. Godzilla's first instinct is to fucking yeet him into a mountain. That's after like I couldn't really tell what he grabbed, but he like ripped his hand off or something too. He's just like, fuck away from me.
Pretty sure he ripped part of his tail off.
Oh my god, Godzilla just,
and then he flew back around. And then he proceeded to rip the thing's wing and leg off.
Yeah, Godzilla like woke up and chose violence today. It was really funny.
Yeah. And of course the Frost Mole guy. What was his name again?
Frostvark.
Frostvark. Easily the coolest kaiju design I've seen in I don't even know how long. His whole that entire episode where they were trying to hide from that thing,
that was
like I was like, all right,
fantastic.
I'm here. Yeah, super cool. I love how he's like attracted to fire and shit. Like totally makes sense where he lives. Yeah, just such a good variety that they introduced. I wish we got to see a bit more of the kind of like roach kaiju thing that was in the I forget what it's called.
The Endoswarmer?
Yeah, that one. I wish we got to see a bit more of him. But I can't complain. Like I feel like I got treated pretty good with all the kaiju.
And hey, you never know. If this gets a second season, we'll probably see way more.
I mean, I hope so. I really think that they could do a lot of good with the show for people like me who are not sold on a lot of the things in the movies. I think that they could use this show as a good way to convince me that it's not lame and stupid.
Hell, honestly, you could do a totally different show and just have it as a monster of the week type thing, and it'd be great. Yeah. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be like what this is and actually expand the universe. It can be like an X-Files type show, and I'd be down.
Or they could just do like, they could do little like vignettes of like people like, people taking like footage from kaiju attacks that have happened that we've seen in movies from like different angles. That was one of my favorite things about the show, is that we got to see the G-Day attack from a different angle. Literally the other side of the bridge that got destroyed. Like literally, like that's really cool stuff. That's kind of like what I wish Cloverfield would have done, which was they had the first Cloverfield movie, but then they could have set the second Cloverfield movie just in a different point of view.
Yeah.
But with the same events. Like just cool shit like that. Like you already have your Godzilla assets. You already have like all this stuff for VFX. Like, all you got to do is put it together and give us some characters to care about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know. Do you want to talk about my Hollow Earth gripes? I know we're kind of getting low on time here.
Yeah, we'll do that real quick, and then there's one more thing I have one more gripe I want to get into, and then we'll wrap up.
I wish we had more time to talk about this because all the characters are
I know
fantastic.
there's so much we can talk about, but yeah,
Like,
so
even I wish we could have talked more about May, to be honest, because May's story is pretty good. But honestly, just go watch the goddamn show.
Watch the show. It's good. It's real good.
Watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again.
I probably will too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm tempted to like do a full MonsterVerse run through after this now, just for shits and giggles. But we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's made those other movies better. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? But anyways, yeah, the Hollow Earth is still fucking weird. We had kind of a back and forth after we both watched the finale, and we were like, okay. So again, there's the whole thing that like Monarch should know but doesn't know about it, but also like Axis Mundi, which is where they end up in the finale. Keiko refers to it as kind of an in between their world and ours. So is it part of the Hollow Earth, or is it like a purgatorial place for the Hollow Earth, like a hollow Earth? It's very, very confusing. And also, that opens up, if it is part of the Hollow Earth, the end of Godzilla vs. Kong shows Monarch operating in the Hollow Earth. Are they just going to fall victim to all the time dilation shit now?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
It's very confusing. I don't understand it.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, if they can explain the Hollow Earth in a coherent way that makes sense, even if they have to retcon stuff, like, I will be on board with it. But every time we see it portrayed in these movies, and the show now, it's portrayed in a different way. Like, you can't just keep doing that because it's just gonna get confusing and obnoxious. Like, I don't really understand it. Like, I still feel like I don't. It just feels like they're going to a different planet entirely. Like, it's like, I don't care. Like, if you just want to say, oh, all of these little all these holes in the Earth, they literally are just warp gates to, like, I don't know where, like a different reality. I'd be like, sure, whatever. Like, okay. But, like, you can't just keep introducing new aspects of it without explaining the old ones, because it just confuses the whole thing, and it just makes me confused and upset.
It's weird. Again, they're doing a good job of tying everything together, but at the same time, they're making everything more convoluted. It's like, dude, pick a lane, please.
It just feels like it, like, excuse the pun, but with the Hollow Earth shit, they just keep digging the hole deeper. You know? Like, it doesn't go anywhere. Like, it's just I think they just use it at this point. I just feel like they're using it as
Also,
a cool set piece for fights.
I just had this thought. So in Godzilla versus Kong, right, Godzilla somehow, through sheer force of will, blows a hole straight down to the Hollow Earth. What does that mean for the time dilation stuff?
I don't know.
Is like it's so confusing.
I mean, that entire, like, thing by itself is already ridiculous. Him blowing a hole all the way through the fucking
No, I'm aware.
Like, I know we're small humans, but even for Godzilla, do you know how fucking huge Earth is compared to us?
It's an insane.
You know how long it would take to blow a hole all the way down? Like, come on. Yeah, it just keeps getting over complicated.
Yeah.
I really think they're gonna have to do some hardcore retconning to make any of it make sense.
I think so too.
And I think I put it in here. I said at this point there are gonna have to be some retcons, and it's not going to be elegant.
No, absolutely not. The only other kind of problem I have with it is that there's a cool scene at the end when they bring I almost said Shaw, but no, Shaw is left behind, unfortunately. They bring home Keiko and Kate and May from the Hollow Earth, and it's revealed that it's Apex who brought them home. They're on Skull Island, and it's been 2 years. My question is, how the fuck does Apex have a facility on Skull Island, and Monarch just had no idea?
Maybe I mean, maybe that Wikipedia post is right. Maybe
I don't know. But then
maybe we just missed some shit.
But then how the fuck did Monarch not know about fucking Mecha Godzilla?
Well, that's maybe just shady dealings or some shit.
Again, I don't know. It's just becoming more and more convoluted. It's insane.
No, but I do agree with you. It doesn't make any sense. I like the reveal that they're on Skull Island.
Reveal. It's a really cool reveal.
But they could have just swapped out Apex with Monarch.
Yeah. I don't know.
It still would have been fine.
I mean, I know there was that. There's like the dramatic tension of like, oh, May is back with Apex now. What's going to happen with that? But like, I don't know. I feel like it would have been a little more. It just would have made more sense to have it at another outpost that has another Titan at it somewhere. It doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, like having Kong be there, like you got the brand recognition, like, whoa, it's Kong. That's my favorite scene in the whole entire movie. But like,
oh yeah,
I don't know. Just narratively, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And
not really.
We'll see. I don't know if I'm sure they will address that. I hope they will address that in the future, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it just overall kind of feels like the show is kind of like, you know, I don't care about previous continuity. Yeah. I'm just gonna do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but all in all, I think it worked really well. I think all the human characters. I think we got what we wanted. We got a really compelling human story. We got a mystery. We got a globe-trotting thing. We got Godzilla. Got new kaiju.
We did get Godzilla.
Got a good mix of our humans and our monsters. Honestly, it was everything that I've wanted out of the MonsterVerse for a long time now.
Yeah, I was very, very pleasantly surprised by this show. I was
definitely. Yeah, I was definitely expecting to like it, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't expecting to like it this much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
Yeah. So I would give it like 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
it's definitely got its inconsistencies, but, you know, all shows do.
I gave it a nice 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I would, if I was doing a 5 scale, I'd probably do the same thing. Yeah.
All right.
Well, probably gonna rewatch it pretty soon.
Yeah,
and also, you know, my dad watched it without me even telling him to.
What?
So
that's insane.
That's how you know that people are interested in it.
Damn, look at your family go watching Godzilla stuff without you having to bother them about it. That's wild.
First, it was my mom going to see Godzilla -1,
and your sister.
And now it's my dad watching, and my sister, which is a bigger surprise. And then my dad watching Monarch.
Yeah. All right, so
nice.
Oh, thank you. Wait, hold on. Wait, what?
Did you want to wrap this up quickly?
Yeah, I just need to see something piqued my interest in my Facebook notifications, and it seems very oh my.
What?
Oh no.
What's happening?
I think we might have to see -1 again, Brian.
Why? I mean, of course I will, but why?
My buddy Jeremy in the Kaiju United group, he posted what looks like a screenshot from the AMC website. It looks like at the end of the month, we might be getting that black and white version of -1 in theaters.
Yo, let's go! I've been fucking...
Okay. Guess I gotta see it again.
Praying that shit made it stateside.
I'm shocked it did. But sorry, that was a total aside. But let's.
Hey, you know what? Keep that shit in, dude.
Don't worry, I'm going to. So let's wrap this up real quick. We got about 5 minutes left before I gotta skedaddle. So yep, Monarch, real good, loved it.
2 thumbs up for me.
Yeah. Do I? No, I'm just good. We'll save. Listen, we got another episode coming out next week. There won't be any buffer this time. It's coming out a week after this one. So if you want to hear what new cool kaiju things we're checking out right now, just wait a week. There's a lot I've been checking out, so I don't have time to go into it right now, unfortunately. So we'll wait until next week's episode for that. Which, hey, Brian, should we tell them all about what we're doing next week?
Yeah, we have another interview, motherfuckers.
We have another interview, and oh my god, I know I say this all the time, but it is like our best interview we've done, and I've literally never been happy with the interview. We got to sit down with Quasies, who is the wonderful animator behind all those Tales from Monster Island animations that have been making the rounds in the fandom recently. The most recent one that came out was last week, I think, or the week before at this point. By the time this comes out, Rodan's Egg, which was the one that just came out.
Absolutely wonderful animation.
Wonderful animation. Just a wonderful person in general. They were very, very nice. Like, they were super great to talk to. I wasn't really sure how it was going to go. I don't think they were sure how it was going to go because they mentioned that they hadn't really talked to anyone publicly about their stuff before. So ours was the first time, and I think all of us had a wonderful time. It was really, really great, and I'm really glad we got to sit down and talk to them. So that'll.
And we got a little bit of a scoop, too.
We got a bit of a scoop, so there's something to look forward to there. It's the first ever Talking Toku scoop. Don't get used to it. I don't think it'll happen again anytime soon.
Probably won't.
But yeah. No, it was a lot of fun to talk with them, and I'm hoping to do it again sometime in the future. I don't know. I mean, it seems like if one or both of us go to G-Fest, we're all going to hang out, so I call that a win.
We can do an in-person Talking Toku episode.
That'd be
with a
wild.
bunch of people.
That would be cool.
Yeah, we'd have to bring microphones and stuff.
I know. That'd be a pain. But
hey, you know what? I could bring mine. I have a pretty good ARS technical one, so.
Oh, all right. But yeah, so look out for that next week. Again, a shorter episode just because we were on a bit of a time crunch. Sorry about that, guys, but again, it'll make up for it when there's no week-long break. So we will see you guys next week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter because, hey, I'm bringing the Twitter back this year. New year, new me, baby. We're back on Twitter, and I'm going to use it a lot more. I've already, tweeted out, 5 things already in, the 2 days since I reacted. I never even deactivated. I just left it sitting there unattended.
Big moves, Dave. Big
I know.
Moves.
So we got Twitter back. I'm going to be going very, very hard at the YouTube stuff. We've actually been talking about doing some new stuff on the YouTube frontier already. I'm not going to talk much about that. I'm just going to be a little teaser. This is the Talking Toku cinematic universe is going to be expanding soon.
Yeah. We'll be expanding a bit.
Yeah.
Potentially Instagram Reels, maybe.
Yeah. A big part of what we want to do for this year is kind of get our name out there in any way we can. So
now that our format is a bit more solidified.
Yes. So again, yeah. So check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Check out our Discord server. Check out Kaiju United on their Facebook group and their Discord server and their website. They just came back with the coolest fucking interview ever. I don't know how much of this you know about, Brian, but Jacob got to sit down with Barry Goldberg, who is the founder of the first ever Godzilla fan site from back in the day, Barry's Temple of Godzilla, which I can't tell you how many hours I spent poring over that website as a kid. It was so formative for me and a lot of other fans of our age. And so Jacob got to sit down with him, and the interview itself is really good. It's probably one of my favorite interviews that they've done over at Kaiju United. So really great interview. Go check that out if you haven't already. They also have a new Town Hall episode up, also covering Monarch, so don't forget to take a look at that as well. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right.
All right.
We will see you guys next week for our wonderful interview with Quasies. And yeah, all right, guys. Happy New Year. Even though it's the 16th, we're halfway through the month already. Oh well. I don't care. Goodbye.
Bye.